All right, y'all. Welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Now, today we are doing a chat with a fellow named Dan. He's actually from ExMilGaming on YouTube, so he does a lot of gaming videos, and recently he's been getting into reaction videos as well. But yeah, he's a former British Army soldier, so we're going to be having a chat about the British Army ranking system and how they actually do it. Because although I've worked with the Royal Marines and the British Army a bunch, previously, I don't really understand their rank structure. I don't know how they get promoted. I don't even know like how many ranks they actually have. So the biggest thing is going to be us just getting a better understanding of how the U.S. military's ranking system works, at least with the U.S. Army and the U.S. Marine Corps, and then also with the British Army. So yeah, we'll also have a chat. So whatever other topic comes up, we'll talk about that. But yeah, it should be a good little discussion. So hope you guys are excited. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. Welcome. I'm here with Dan from ExMilGaming. So we're going to be talking about the rank structure in the U.S. military and then also the British military. Because again, I've done a bunch of videos on the British military, but I'm not too savvy on how the rank structure actually works. And I know it seems like it's a lot harder for the Brits to get promoted. So is that what you're saying, Dan? It takes like 12 years to make sergeant.
Yeah, you're looking at sort of 12 years for sergeant, minimum 4 years for a lance corporal, probably
Wow.
another 2 years. Yeah, well, and a lot of units you won't even get a sniff at going on the lance corporal course unless you've done an operational tour
Really?
or you've got some kind of experience. Yeah, and I think it might be, obviously the British Army is a lot smaller than the US military, so there probably is a lesser need for NCOs, but
Right.
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it was harder. It's just longer. I mean, I don't know what you have to do to be promoted in terms of courses and so on. So I wouldn't know if it was harder or not.
It just seems like in the US, from what I've heard, it's just a lot less unregulated because in the
Right.
US, if you do a certain amount of things, then you get promoted. And also, if you've been in a rank for a certain period of time, you just automatically get promoted.
Really?
So yeah, which is
Wow.
it's kind of a shame that that's new to the US Army. I don't know if the Marine Corps
Yeah.
does that, but yeah, it's one of
Well, I
those
know.
things.
Well, for example, so like I said, for Lance Corporal, which is because obviously we don't have sort of first private specialist or that. We just have private Lance Corporal, and you're looking at a 6 week course just to get to Lance Corporal.
Okay.
And then to get to corporal, you have to do a thing called section commanders battle camp, which is 6 months down Brecon, the mountains in Wales.
Okay.
Six months just getting beasted down in Wales,
Damn.
and then for sergeant again, it's another 6 months.
Okay, I
So
gotcha.
yeah, and I know the Gurkhas, for example. I know you did a video on the Gurkhas.
Right.
If you don't finish top third of that training course, you will not get promoted, and you only get one opportunity in the Gurkhas to go and do that course. So
Really?
yeah, it's they're really sort of strict on it.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense, especially since it's like a smaller force within a
Well,
already
that's it.
small
Yeah,
force, but that's pretty rough.
they can they can literally pick and choose. So they do. Um, we had a Gurkha transfer to my unit who did a course 15 years previous, and then he got promoted at our unit. He'd done the course,
Right.
so he was eligible for promotion, but just within the Gurkhas, he would never have got promoted.
Okay, so it does sound pretty similar as far as like the course, but your guys
Yeah.
is again, I think the requirements are just going to be a lot more stringent. So, how many ranks do you guys actually have in the British Army?
So if you're talking just non commissioned officer ranks, you've
Right.
got lance corporal, corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, and then you have a couple of sergeant major ranks.
Okay.
Um, so you have your WO2 and then WO1, which is like an RSM. So you have sergeant major and then regimental sergeant major.
Okay.
Um, so we haven't got many, but you guys have got a lot.
Yeah, so we have nine like pay grades, but then each
Really?
pay grade might have like different ones. So the Army is the worst because you'll have private, PV2, which is just
Yeah.
private two, PFC, specialist, and then specialist you can also be a corporal, which is the same pay grade. And then you go to sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, and then you also have like a sergeant major and a command sergeant major, so it sounds
Yeah.
kind of similar. So I guess it
Yeah.
just depends on whatever like billet you're assigned, but
Um, uh,
yeah.
the Marines, they have what do the Marines have? Is it like Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps or
Yeah, so
something like
Marines is a little bit different. That is private, PFC, Lance Corporal, Corporal, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Gunnery Sergeant, and then you also
that?
have First Sergeant, Master Sergeant, and then after that, it's you have Master Gunnery Sergeant or Sergeant
Yeah,
Major,
right.
but then
Yeah.
the one Sergeant Major in charge is the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps.
See, I remember getting told off in Camp Leatherneck by the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Um,
What'd
I
you
was in
do?
your, I was in the, you guys call it the PX, don't you?
Yep.
The PX,
The,
yeah.
yeah, the
I was in the
store.
PX, and I had my beret on because that's just
Oh,
a,
okay.
A
Yeah,
British
so
Army thing.
wearing it
And he,
indoors.
yeah, so he come over and hey man, this isn't a naffy.
Oh
Like,
my God.
who, who are you?
I
And
would
then
have told
obviously
them off too, honestly.
well, this was it. But on the way out, there was a picture of him on the door next to the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
You figured he would
So yeah,
know, he would know like not to mess with other people who have different uniform
uh,
regulations.
I don't know, but he wasn't happy. He wasn't a happy man. I can't remember his name either, but he did come and visit us while we was in our
So,
fob.
what year was this?
2013.
Sergeant Major Barrett, I think.
I don't know.
Was he
I honestly can't remember.
was he a bald
He was
white
bald.
dude?
No, he was a bald black guy.
Oh, Sergeant Major Green, possibly then.
Yeah,
Okay.
possibly.
Yeah.
Quite
Okay.
tall.
Right. Right.
Really likes a hoo-ah
Yeah.
or hoorah, whatever
Yeah.
you say.
I think after like E7, after like Gunnery Sergeant, they're always like that. They just get
Yeah,
brainwashed again. So,
but
like
no,
in the U.S. Marines and the U.S. Army, you have like your lower enlisted, which is like
yeah,
the Lance Corporal and below or Specialist and below, and
yeah,
then you also have your NCOs and then like your senior NCOs, which is like
yeah,
E7 and above. So do you guys
yeah.
like separate it at all as far as like importance?
Yeah, you've got your junior NCOs, which is your lance corporal, and then your senior NCOs is obviously your sergeant, staff sergeant, and then your sergeant major. But one thing that did surprise me was I was looking at you guys call it a squad, don't you? Squad makeup of the U.S. Army, and it surprised me that it was a sergeant in charge of a squad. Usually, a squad leader is a sergeant.
Right. Yeah. So
So
in the U.S. Army, it's a staff sergeant. In the Marine Corps, it's a sergeant in charge of a squad. It's
yes,
different.
that really surprised me because what is it, 9 men to a squad? Is it something
Yeah.
like that?
In the Army, it's 9. In the Marine Corps, it's 13.
Yeah. So like for us, we would call that we have our closest thing would be a section, and that's 8 men.
Okay.
And you'd have 6 privates, a lance corporal, and a corporal, and that would be your section commander would be the corporal. So a sergeant
Mm,
wouldn't usually be in charge of anything less than 30 men. So that
okay.
really surprised me compared
Right.
to
Right.
obviously the US military, where everything seems to be sort of pushed down a step, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the Army, it's pushed down a step when you go to the Marines because an
Yeah,
E6 goes to an E5 squad leader. So I
yeah,
think for you guys, it's like another step, which makes a lot
yeah,
of sense because we have like a bunch of lower enlisted ranks for some
yeah.
reason. Yeah. So I would say a corporal in the British Army would probably be like a sergeant in the Marine Corps, maybe even like
Yeah,
a
it
staff
seems like it.
sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I talked to Leon from Bootnet Gamer, and he's a
Oh yeah,
corporal,
yeah,
but he's been in for the
yeah,
same amount of time as I have. So I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of weird. That's confusing.
yeah. It's a much slower sort of step up the ladder than, like I said. I think that could just be down to just pure size of the U.S. military. You need
Yeah,
the extra NCOs, for example.
yeah, they're
Whereas the British Army doesn't. We've hardly got one.
right. I think well, it's like it's crazy because the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Army have like units all over the place.
Yeah,
So the infantry is always undermanned. So like
yeah,
whenever you meet those requirements, you're pretty much going to get promoted, unless like
yeah,
the higher ups think you're a turd or something, then you won't. But yeah,
yeah,
so you guys have your I guess your academy. So you have your
yeah,
schooling. Do you have to do
yeah.
like a board or anything?
So it depends on what unit you're in. So infantry, there isn't really a board.
Okay.
Um, that's just purely doing things like section commanders battle camp and the actual courses. Obviously, you have to ask to go on those courses or be recommended.
Right.
But we don't have a board per se. That is more. I think that's more of a support arms thing. So like the medical regiment,
Right.
the med corps,
The Remps.
RLC. Well, didn't want to say it, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they have more boards than the infantry. I watched. Is it Moose?
What is it?
She does a.
Hmm.
She's army and she does YouTube videos
I
and
know who
Facebook
you're
videos.
talking about, but I can't actually put the name to the
Yeah,
face.
she's done a few funny sort of board
Yeah.
video skits. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
they can get pretty weird.
yeah, as well as is it combat veteran
Yeah.
as well? He's
Yeah.
done a few funny board ones.
Yeah, he does a lot of funny videos. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
funny. People take those like way over the top sometimes.
yeah, yeah. No,
So,
we don't have boards or anything like that. Not in the infantry anyway.
that's kind of good. So, your academy seem like a lot longer than ours though, because we do have a Lance Corporal seminar, which is like
Yeah,
I think like a month or something, and then the Corporal's course will be a month, and then
yeah.
Sergeant's course will be about a month and a half, and it's pretty similar in the
Really?
U.S. Army. So yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well,
said
that's really short.
you said yours was like it's like 6 months for a corporal.
Yeah, yeah. And then you're looking at another 6 months for sergeant as well.
I know it gets a little bit longer when you start talking about the higher ranks, but I still don't
Yeah.
think it goes more than like 3 months, honestly.
I mean, to be fair, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Well, our courses sort of only really extend to sergeant. Once you start getting to sort of colour sergeant or colour sergeant, staff sergeant, or sergeant major, um, there may be a course. I don't know, but it
Mm,
wouldn't. It won't be a long one because you've already got that experience. So for us, a
right.
a colour sergeant or a staff sergeant is an admin role. They
Okay.
will control the stores and supply. So on exercise or deployment, they will make sure that the men on the ground have all the ammo they need, the food, the water. That's
Right.
kind of their thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and then sergeant major, is basically for our sergeant majors, it's sitting behind a desk, discipline issues, and
Yeah.
that's
It
really about
gets. I think in the Marine Corps, when you get to be a staff sergeant, that's where it gets a lot of administrative work, and then in the
it. Yeah,
Army, it's sergeant first class where it gets really administrative.
yeah.
Now, do you guys have like we have broadening assignments, which basically are like drill instructor or you go and be in recruiter. Do you guys get pulled out of your job to do anything like that?
So everyone wants to do recruiting. That's kind of
Really?
what people would give a left nut to be on the recruiting team.
Really?
Uh, yeah, because that's usually just, especially if you can get attached to a careers office, for example,
Right.
um, it's kind of the best posting you can get because it's just sort of 2 years sitting in your local town,
Right.
you know, working 8 till half 4 or whatever it is, and then that's it. You're off home.
Hmm.
Um, so there are extra assignments like that. So once you get to full screw, you're usually expected before you can get sergeant. You're usually expected to do a 2 year stint at the infantry training centre
Okay.
as an instructor.
Right.
Um, so once you've done that, then you'll come back, and that's kind of when then you will take your next step to sergeant.
Hmm.
Um,
That makes a
and
lot
then
of sense.
and then you're usually expected to go back to ITC and do a stint as a platoon sergeant,
Okay.
and then you'll come back, and that's when you'll be looking at sort of doing your next rank.
Yeah, that
Uh,
makes a lot of sense because it's still kind of keeping you in your job and you're just sort of
yeah,
reinforcing everything. But
yeah,
yeah, we do have a combat instructor in the Marine Corps. That's like something you can do, but most of the time it's
yeah,
like you either become like a drill instructor or drill sergeant or do recruiting, and it kind of just knocks people out of their flow or their job.
yeah.
So it's kind of
Oh
weird.
no, it's all very much whole encompassing. So
Mm,
if a corporal will be, they'll do the whole shebang sort of as part of their 6 month course. So
right,
drill instructor stuff like that. That's why they can basically finish their 6 month section commanders course, and they could
right.
literally next day go to depot as an instructor because that's what the 6 month course. A lot of it focuses on instructing and
That
teaching
makes a lot of
teaching
sense.
techniques.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because they're obviously going to be expected to teach, and instruct sort of new soldiers within their section. It's very much, you know, centered on sort of instruction and teach the teacher, I think they call it over here.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a better way of doing it. I think people think the broadening assignment helps people with like public speaking and learning how to be a
Yeah,
leader, but in reality, it kind of just kicks you out of your job. It's kind of a weird way to do it.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. So again, like the administrative stuff comes later on. I'm sort of moving into administrative stuff right now, but again, I'm trying to just stay in a position to where I'm not doing that. But yeah,
Well,
it seems like it does mirror it very similarly. It's just
yeah,
you guys are a step down, which I guess it's starting to make sense. It's pretty similar, but I
yeah,
do like how you guys have all the stuff built into the academy itself, so you don't have to go out of your job and do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So do you have like an evaluation system to get promoted, or like, I don't know, anything to review your
Um,
competency?
so not really. It's kind of more so. I mean, we do obviously have our sort of mid-period appraisals,
Okay.
where you'll go there and it's just 3 paragraphs of, he's a fat mong, but he's actually a good bloke. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but yeah, we have that. But in terms of going for an NCO course, it's really more of a case of asking, um, speaking to your platoon commander, platoon sergeant, whatever,
Right.
and really seeing what they think,
Okay.
and then asking, and hopefully they don't tell you to get stuff. Do
Kick
you know what I mean?
rocks.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's more of asking. It's not really, like I said, that's more of a board thing, which, like I said, the Remps would have. Um, so yeah, it's just taking it upon yourself to actually go for it yourself. No one's forcing you. No one forces you to go and do it.
Yeah,
An NCO.
that's cool. It seems like you have a little more control over it at least. But
Oh yeah, like I said, no one will force you to do anything. I'll say that. No one will force you to do an NCO course.
yeah,
Um, so
Mm. Yeah, because we have in the Marines, we had pros and cons, which is basically like you get evaluated, I think like 2 to 5. And like
yeah,
normally you have to get like a 4.5 to be looked at as like a solid Marine. And then you also get like NCO evaluations later on. And it's kind of the same in the
yeah,
Army. So I'm in a
four,
position,
five.
yeah, I know. It's weird, and now because I'm a staff sergeant to get E7, I need to be
Yep,
looked at basically through my evaluations. So they need to
yeah,
look at it, and basically I need to look it on paper to get promoted.
yeah.
So it's kind of a weird system, but I like how you guys have a little more control over it, at least a little more say in where you want to go and when you want to do it.
I think again a lot of it comes down to just the fact we're smaller. We
Yeah.
have more control over it. Like I said, I think the British Army now I think is about 70,000 strong. The US Marine
That's
Corps alone
crazy. It's
is
like a
pretty much
hundred.
that size.
No, Marine
You
Corps
know
is
what I mean?
like 175 right now.
Exactly. So
Yeah, I think.
we've been slowly eroded away for the last 10 years or so.
So do you guys go in like waves of like how many people you have, and then all of a sudden you kick people out, and
Oh
then
no, it just keeps going down and down.
really?
The government keep making more cuts. I think
Hmm.
personally, I think they want to move to a more reservist force, a
Okay.
more part-time force,
Hmm.
because they keep cutting the regular army and trying to increase the reserves. So
Mm.
what can
That's
you do?
that's kind of weird. Yeah, I know for us it goes in like waves. So they'll lower the standard,
Yeah,
get a bunch of people in,
yeah,
offer like you can get $20,000 just for signing up for 3 years.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
insane.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
and
there was, I think, a year before last. I think the recruiting situation for the British Army was shocking, or the reserves. Sorry, for the reserves, it was shocking. I think
right.
more British citizens actually went to join ISIS than joined the reserves in a 1 year period.
Wow.
Just goes to show no one wants to do it. Unfortunately, no one wants to do it. The British Army is known as just being bullshit central, so no one wants to do it. No one's got the time for it.
Are the benefits like pretty decent whenever you're actually in?
Pay's not bad. Free medical. I mean, we
You
get
get,
free medical per se anyway.
yeah, right.
But like free dental is good.
Hmm.
You can't knock the dental.
Right.
The housing is good if you're married. The housing's pretty good.
Yeah, it is kind of clutch here too.
Yeah, So there's not really massive benefits. I mean, obviously for you, things like medical care,
Right.
is a massive benefit really because you're not paying for that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because if you were paying for it, or if you had to pay for insurance, it's
Yeah,
like way more. People don't really understand that when they're in
yeah,
the military, though.
yeah. So we're quite lucky. I mean, the medical care is good because you've got easier access to things like doctors because obviously you've got your medical center and you can just you haven't got to wait,
Right, right.
which is a problem we do have trying to get a doctor's appointment on the NHS
Right, yeah, I've heard that.
is a nightmare.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'd rather that than pay £1,000 a month or whatever it is for insurance. So
yeah, yeah. It's the same
you
here.
know,
Like you have to pay for insurance. You have like a bunch of
yeah,
bills anyway. So the military does a
yeah,
pretty good job of trying to like sweeten the deal with like
yeah,
bonuses if you're like reenlisting. I think
yeah,
I got several thousand just for reenlisting for like a few more years, and I
yeah.
wasn't even like under strength at the time. So the
But
U.S.
we
military is pretty good about throwing money at people.
Yeah, but we had bonuses. I don't know if they still do it now because I've been out for 5 years. You
Right.
used to have your, I think it was 4 year money, 6 year money, 7 year money, and 12 year money.
Okay.
So you had four lump sums you could take, and that was just basically time of service reward sort of thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you had to pick two of them. You could pick your say 4 and 7 or your 6 and 12 year money, and or you could just save it all up and take one because it was kind of like one pot, and then if you took it there,
Okay.
it would be less at that point. Yeah, it
Ah.
was weird.
Yeah, I know
You have,
we get like bonuses. So like if
yeah,
you're once you're up to 4 years, it becomes every two
yeah.
years. But every 2 years, you get like I don't know, maybe $200 more or a paycheck or something.
So your
So
reenlistment is it? Do you sign back up for X amount of years? Do you?
right. So I joined the Marine Corps. I signed for a 5 year contract. Normally it's 4 years. In the
Yeah,
U.S. Army, you can do like 3 or 4. Most people
yeah,
just do 3. But yeah, once you're like a year out, you can decide if you want to reenlist. In the
yeah,
Army, you're pretty much guaranteed to reenlist. In the Marine Corps,
yeah,
it's a little bit harder. But yeah, you're
yeah.
just like I'll sign up for six more years, 5 more years, 4 more years. So you
Oh, so
decide
you
that.
actually, so you actually have to re-up for an X amount of years.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. See, for us, it's a 4 year minimum contract.
Okay.
But once you hit your year 3 point, it just becomes a rolling contract then.
Okay.
Um,
That's
so you
cool.
have to give a year's notice anyway. So
Right.
you'd have to let them know a year beforehand that you want to leave, and then a year later, that's it, you're done. But yeah, it would just
Mm.
be a rolling contract after that. There's no minimum term. You know what I mean? It's just right. You've done 3 years now. Any point now, you can give a year's notice, and that's
Hmm.
it. You're done.
Yeah, I can see
Um,
why people would get out then because I mean you could probably just be seeking a civilian job while you're doing your rolling contract
yeah,
and once
yeah.
you land something like that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah. People do. People, especially once they've signed off, um, they'll take that year to. They've still expected to do their jobs in that year, but they will,
Yeah, they'll check
look
out.
around. Yeah, yeah, God, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I guess the Marine Corps and the Army system sort of just hooks you in. So you can't even like visualize civilian life or think about how nice it'll be because
nah,
you got like
couldn't do
several
that.
years.
4 year, just another 4 year contract. No,
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have quite a large number of things like AWOLs,
Yeah,
absent without leaving, stuff like that.
yeah. So AWOL is like the Army term, but in the Marines,
Yeah,
it's unauthorized absence. Basically the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's either that or somebody will injure themselves and then ride that so they can get a medical
yeah,
board, which I
yeah,
mean, and then they get
that,
money on top of that.
yeah, exactly. Can't be a medical board.
Yeah, I know.
They did it the smart way.
Yeah. I mean,
Get a load of money while they're at it.
it kind of sucks. You see that a bunch in the Army, but it's kind of
Yeah.
a pain in the butt.
So the problem, what we have at the moment is because obviously mental health now has become a sort of a big thing
Right.
in both countries. Because obviously, you guys have a massive, as well as us. Both countries have got quite a big problem with sort of veteran suicide and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But there will be people, and I'm sure you probably know some people yourself who will play the the sort of PTSD card to, even though you know that they've done absolutely nothing.
All
You know what I
right.
mean? So, well, I know some people that will, they've seen the most traumatic things in the world. When I know for a fact they've not done anything. You know what I mean? But they'll play
Right.
the card to try and get
Yeah.
out that way. It's a quick way to do it.
It is a quick way to do it. We had one person who claimed PTSD because he said he got hazed when he was, lower enlisted, but it was like
Yeah,
2013 at the time. There wasn't
yeah,
really a whole lot of hazing going on.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
I
kind of a
mean,
shame.
yeah, it is because it detracts from those who really do struggle. And I mean, we had a guy get out for mental health. He pretended to ride a bicycle as he walked around camp. So he rode an invisible bicycle.
That's a way to do it.
Yeah,
That is a hell of a way
and
to do it.
honestly, you would watch him cleaning this invisible bicycle outside the block. He'd be there cleaning it, and on the final day, he walked up to the gatehouse, went to the sergeant major, said, "Here you go, sir. Can you hold my bicycle for me?" And the sergeant major played along. He was just like, "Yeah, okay." And as he turned around and walked out that camp, he was like, "Right, don't need that anymore. I'll see you in a bit." So he played the system. He played it massively, and
Wow.
fair one to him.
I guess, yeah, if you're gonna take it that far.
Yeah, well,
Hmm.
that's it. If you're gonna take it that far,
He did it.
so yeah, that's it. But no, it's medical discharge. Yeah, people know how to play the system, and I mean, like I said, fair enough to them. If
Yeah.
they can do it and get the money, then
Yeah, I think that the U.S. military is doing a better job now with people who actually
yeah,
have like issues and whatnot. I think now
yeah,
they're trying to make it so you can go to like a mental health facility and get treatment without having to report it to your chain of command. Because again, you get
yeah,
that stigma associated
yeah,
with people trying to do all that stuff. But
yeah.
yeah,
You guys have your VA as well, don't you? Is it the VA
yeah,
service and
the VA, yeah, it's for like the veterans when they get out. But honestly, the VA is not the best resource for that sort of stuff.
yeah. No, I've seen a lot of stuff to do with the VA. It's, massively underfunded and overstretched. It's kind of like our NHS, underfunded and overstretched.
Yeah, that's probably a
Um,
good representation, honestly.
yeah,
Hmm.
but it's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. Now, the
Yeah,
only other thing I was trying to figure out, so in the Marine Corps, at least, we have whenever you become a
yeah,
corporal, an NCO, you get a NCO sword. Well, you have to buy an NCO sword because the Marine Corps
yeah,
likes doing all the drill and ceremony,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then the officers have their own sword as well. And then you also get new uniforms. So, do you guys have any of those goodies that come along with getting a new
So
rank?
once you get a rank, you have to get a thing called a mess dress,
Okay.
uh, which costs a lot of money. I think on average, you're probably talking about £900. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think.
what that is in dollars.
Yeah, we have ours is
Uh,
about 800 to 1,000.
yeah, swords not really a thing. Uh,
Okay.
that's more of an officer thing. They like to be special.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's mess dress is the big one, and to be honest, a lot of people will not buy it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of
but
people
then you have
like the look of
it
that.
just well, it's great, but if you're just a
Yeah.
young sort of lance corporal, the last thing you want to be doing is trying to find, $1,300 from somewhere basically a uniform you're going to wear
Right.
once or
Yeah, like
twice.
never.
Yeah, exactly. So you also have the mess as well. So once you hit lance corporal, obviously you get the corporal's mess, and that's
Okay.
sort of a private club
Hmm.
for junior NCOs.
Gotcha.
Basically, yeah, to drink. You get charged for that each month as well. So that's
Really?
another benefit. Yeah, I think it's something like £50 a month. They get charged for it. Comes straight out of their wages.
Okay,
Um,
so when you're like lower enlisted, do you have money taken out for your meals anyway, like the chow hall?
oh no, the British Army moved away from free food now, or
Uh,
not free food, but it used to come out of your wages, and
ah,
you know, you were guaranteed three sort of meals a day, no matter what. So the British Army moved away from that now, and you have to pay for all your food,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
which is really sort of backfired on the British Army. And the
Really.
British Army had a massive sort of nutrition problem at the moment because, again, you're talking young
Right.
teenage lads who getting all this money. They'd rather spend it out on a weekend
Yeah,
than
that's
they're
true.
not thinking about budgeting for food and stuff. So you end up having soldiers basically they'll just eat noodles for the whole month.
Yeah.
That's all they can afford.
I didn't even
Uh,
consider that. I know when I was a lance corporal, I wasn't married at the time, so I
yeah,
was forced to go to the chow hall. But I
yeah,
was like, dude, I just want my own money so I can go to the commissary and buy
yeah,
like a good diet. But that is true. A lot of people would just spend it on alcohol or
yeah.
something.
So yeah, like I said, it started because married men. So everyone used to get charged for the same for food, um, and then obviously the men who lived sort of on married quarters, they didn't live in the block. They were getting fed at home by their wives,
Right.
spending money on food. So they moaned about it basically. Why am I paying for food that I'm not eating?
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, it backfired massively because the food was better quality because everyone was paying into the same pot, but only say half of those people were actually eating the food. So there was
yeah.
always extra
There's plenty
money
to go
for
around.
yeah. So and then it became a civilian company started running the food and they only care about profit and so
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely worth a Google British Army food problems because you'll see chicken with maggots in and
Right, right, right.
you know, yeah, it's really bad. There's a big problem at the moment with the British military and its food. Let's say.
Yeah, the issue right now is a lot of people think the food quality is pretty garbage in the U.S. and it really depends on where you go. I know in
Yeah,
North Carolina, at least Camp Lejeune, it was freaking dreadful
yeah,
in most places.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, if you are getting forced to pay for crappy food, it's an issue. But
yeah,
a lot of people get some pretty nice food, and they don't really consider that.
yeah. The best food I ever had in the British Army was in a tent in a field uh, in the middle of nowhere because we had a general coming to visit.
Oh, that's when
So
all the good
you
food
know
comes out.
all the good food came
Yeah,
out.
that's
So yeah, that was
crazy.
pretty shit hot.
That's crazy how that works. All the rice
But I
goes.
saw your.
Go
Go on.
ahead.
I was going to say I saw your video on British Army rations.
Yeah, dude, people did not like my opinions on British food.
British Army rations
Right.
are shocking,
I still
shockingly bad.
People were saying that it's so nice, like, oh, you're gonna love it. It's like you hated this ration, but you'll love it. Like I still have these biscuits because
But
I saved
biscuit
it
brand.
because I knew people were going to be like, dude, why didn't you try it with this or why didn't you try it this way? So I saved all the stuff I didn't finish. And of course, everyone's like, you have to try it with tea. Like, what are you doing?
But what was your main what was the main meal that you had?
There was like three. There was like the all day breakfast. There
Yeah,
was the pasta,
yeah,
bolognese, and then there was something else. Oh, there's a curry. I forgot what the name of
yeah.
it was. It was
So your
lamb
your
rogan.
rations are your rations are mental. Was it barbecue rib?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
what
mean,
is this sorcery?
I know I'm used to like that stuff, and then I get like all
Yeah,
this. I don't know. I was
but
hyped up about it,
yeah,
I guess.
no. British rations are nasty. Um, it's a lot more since sort of Afghanistan, Iraq, the more hot weather environments they've moved for some reason to more like fish food and pastas and
Right,
it's foul, absolutely disgusting. You won't. Oh no,
dude.
no.
Have you ever had the MRE pizza? Actually, no. That was probably after.
Yeah,
I think that you had it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty good. Not gonna lie. All right, I think that's a pretty good little discussion.
yeah. It's definitely a lot more informative, sort of my side of things as well. Because like you, I didn't really know much about American ranks, just that there was a million of them,
Right.
and
Yeah, there are a lot. There used to be more. Yeah,
oh, that's insane.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's
But
like you guys copied us and then went just add a few more in there as
yeah,
well.
yeah, it's try it. Yeah, it's like let's one up
Yeah,
them. Let's one up them
yeah,
literally and add
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So no, that was good. That was good. Good chat, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, if we want to do like maybe like training or something, any other
Yeah,
discussion, that'd be cool too.
yeah. I think that could be really sort of interesting because again, like you were saying yesterday on the live stream about you guys seem to like to fight light a lot more. You take that a lot more seriously
Yeah,
than sort of what we do. So that could be really interesting to go into and sort of pick apart.
yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, well, it was a
Right,
good,
cool, man.
good little chat. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Again, if you guys want to go over to Dan's channel, I'll put the link down in the video description. So by all
cheers, man.
means, yeah, head on over. But yeah,
And
good.
again, well done on the 100,000.
Hey, appreciate it. Here's to a million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might not have to sign. You might not have to re-up.
Yeah, I'll be retired by then probably.
Well, keep the good work going, man.